Hey kinfolk, this is Brian with the Bearded Axe, and this is making a Plastidip shield, dipping it. So before you begin, you want to make sure that you rub isopropyl alcohol on it to clean it up, get all the dirt, grime, and grease and crud out of the core pores and cracks and all the stuff. See, just like that. You also want to be able to get all those little burrs and hairs off of the hot glue rivets, and make sure you don't tear them off like this bonehead does. Yeah, don't do that. Also, a good way to shape these up is some cuticle scissors. They're round or curved, so you can get in those little crevices and just look. They're great scissors, okay? And so, moving on to replacing details, making sure your cracks and grooves are nice and deep, because once you put the Plastidip down, that's it. No second chances. You want to have 3 cans of Plastidip for this. You want to use it all up too, because if you leave it in the can, it will harden up on you, and it's just a waste. These cans just do not seal up right. I've tried all sorts of ways, like shrink wrap around the lid and duct tape, all sorts of stuff. Doesn't work. Got to use it all up. Also, make sure that you shake up the can for 60 seconds. All the solvents and Plastidips and the good stuffs will separate. And make sure you break in your brushes. Your brushes will have little hairs in them that will come flying off and getting onto your Plastidip and will show up. Don't do it. Also, make sure all your windows, doors, and orifices to your area is open, and make sure you wear gloves. You don't want this stuff getting into your body. So, when you begin, make sure you start with the area that takes the most amount of wear, tear, and abuse. So you want to do the edge, and you want to do about 1 inch from that edge on the first layer. Second layer, you want to do 2 inches past that. Then 3 on the third and fourth, and all so on and so forth. And when you get into those old rivets and old details, make sure that you swirl the brush around, a la the Weinar method. A lot of what we get, what we do here on Plastidip is, well, from Weinar. So we give a big shout out to Weinar and all the efforts he's gone into to help promote this method of making LARP props. So once you do one side, you want to do the other side, flip it over and do the same thing. In between coats, you want to store up your bag in food saver bags. This thing was originally used for getting food to LARP events, so prepared food, and it totally didn't work. But I am actually using these for all my brushes and rags, and it's great. It takes all the air out of it and preserves the brush, and keeps it nice and moist for the next coat. This works great. I've got like rags and brushes a year old in these bags. Also, in between coats, you want to put a splash of naphtha in your Plastidip to keep it from drying out on you. It kind of helps thin it out. If you want, you could thin it out maybe a 2-to-1 ratio, and it goes on much smoother and much more easily. That's 1 part naphtha and 2 parts Plastidip, by the way. Before you start up your second coat, make sure that you can't leave any prints or any smudges behind, and make sure you mix up any of those that naphtha and that Plastidip before you coat. Otherwise, you're just going to slap naphtha on there. That's not going to be helpful. Again, you want to go 2 inches from that edge, and you want to keep building it up. It's going to blend in those extra layers that you're putting around the edge overall the whole project. Again, when you do one side, flip it over, do the other side. That's 1 coat. So if this episode was helpful or entertaining in any way, hit that like, sub, and share and all that good stuff. It really helps broaden my audience and helps people see more of my work, and helps get this channel rolling. So next step is to make sure that you have all the parts you don't want to get Plastidip on masked over. Now, I should have done this before I started, but it wasn't too late, so it was all good. I put a little tag on it like that, so I can just grab that little tag and unravel it when I'm done with the whole thing. So after I paint it even. So the Plastidip, I'm going to leave it on there for the paint job, and I can just take it off when I'm all done. So that way there's no Plastidip or glue or any of that junk in there, and it keeps the Plastidip or paint from getting in the hole or on the threads, and just makes things a lot more easy. So once you have at least 4 layers around that edge, you want to start coating the whole thing. Now I like to start from the center and moving my way outwards. Now you can pour it on, or you can paint it on. And again, you're going to notice that this just looks like a turd. that's fine. Most of the Plastidip gets soaked up into the foam itself, and it doesn't look pretty at all. Don't worry, eventually this will look much, much better as you put on more coats. Again, don't forget to put naphtha in between each coat to keep that Plastidip from drying out on you. Also, make sure that you wait in between coats before you flip it over and do it again. Brain fart. Alright, so when you apply this, make sure you get into those details and you swirl around the brush and get all those little rivets coated. A lot of this Plastidip will kind of round over a lot of the details or coat or smother details, and you don't want that to happen. So that little method keeps that from happening to you. So this is the most tedious part about this whole project, but thankfully the Plastidip dries within 10 to 15 minutes, and it's easy just to move on to the next coat, so you're not sitting around waiting for glues to dry and all that stuff. So this is near the end of the project, and it just goes on like butter. It really does. As you'll see that a lot of those brush strokes tend to disappear. Plastidip self-levels. It basically shrinks, and so a lot of those brush strokes will disappear as it dries. And you want to save the last coat for the face and the very last bit for the edge, because again, that's going to take the most amount of abuse. And near the end of the project, I basically had just a little bit in the can, and I just dumped it onto the boss, because ultimately when you're storing this or putting this in and out of a car or putting it somewhere, the boss is going to get hit, rubbed on, or something stacked on it, and this is going to help preserve that. So here we are for the ending. Hey kinfolk, so got all the Plastidip on there. It's looking good. It's nice and rugged. I got about 12 total layers over that, so 4 of which on the edge and 8 overall, so that gives me 12 around the edge and 8 everywhere else. So yeah, it's pretty good. I made a few mistakes. There's some drippage that I didn't catch. I'm going to show you guys how to fix that in the next episode through the paint job. It's not super noticeable, and but I'm going to show you how to fix your mistakes and how to fix the little things that happen during the Plastidip process. So hey, if you guys found this episode helpful or entertaining in any way, then consider buying me a coffee. Head on over to my Ko-Fi and buy me a coffee. It gives me the energy and motivation to keep on going to make these videos for you guys, so you guys can use this stuff at home. It also it helps provide a little bit of revenue for the channel to help me buy microphones, to pay for gas, go to events and promote different LARPs and different events and let you guys know what's going on in our hobby to help promote the hobby. If you want to support me more in the long term, go to my Patreon team. Be a part of my Patreon team. All sorts of really cool benefits to be a part of that team. So you can get early access to videos, a general discount to my Etsy shop. You can also sponsor a video. If you're interested in sponsoring a video, then head on over there and we can talk over what kind of cause or business or message that you want me to get across through this channel. If you want to buy some really cool stuff, go to my Etsy shop. My Etsy shop has all sorts of really cool stuff, like cups and mugs made out of wood, olive wood, cutting boards and ladles and chairs and all sorts of cool stuff. So head on over there and check it out. I'm always running out of stock, and there's two things, like you're getting something really cool and you're supporting the channel. You're helping to grow the channel. Now, if you can't afford any of that, totally understandable. Everybody's going through some tough times right now, and what you can do to help support the channel, you can like, you can sub, and you can share my content. And really, absolutely helps. Every little bit helps, and it goes a long way. And don't think I don't notice you guys, because I do. Every bit of it, and I do appreciate it. So that's all I got for you today, nerds. I'm going to send you home with a be humble, be helpful, and be honorable. Thanks for watching.